Oh boy, things are going to change for the Vancouver Canucks. Or at least, that's what we hope, right? Big shout out to you, the viewer watching this video. If you stumbled upon this video, then congrats, you actually found it. I've been a broken record the past few videos here, but YouTube has done a pretty bad job in recommending folks that we watch on our YouTube homepages, so if you ended up finding this video, I really appreciate you being here, and if you enjoy this content in any capacity, then hey, feel free to like, leave a comment. I never ask y'all to do this, but I need to start doing it now because my channel is kinda dying, and any form of support helps us out with the algorithm, and I'm very, very grateful for it. Now, let's dive into the latest and greatest with the Vancouver Canucks, because a whole bunch of tweets from Thomas Drance have given us a lot to talk about here. Firstly, let's talk about the lines. The Group A and the Group B skating lines, starting out with the forwards here. This is the Canucks Group A skating with the following lines based on the drills and the rushes. Up front, you've got Jake DeBrusk with Pettersson and Boeser, Arshdeep Bains with Braeden, Cootes and Kiefer Sherwood, Vitali Kravtsov with Aatu, Räty and Linus Karlsson, and you have Vilmer Alriksson with Riley Pattersson and Mackenzie MacEachern. Now these lines, these forward lines, they are really scattered around. Not really the most cohesive, aside from DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Boeser. You've got prospects playing with AHL guys, KHL guys playing with regular NHL guys. Kravtsov, Räty, Karlsson is super interesting, so is Sherwood with Bains and Cootes. And then, of course, that fourth line with Alriksson, Pattersson, and MacEachern. It continues on D. You've got Marcus Pettersson with Tyler Myers, Derek Forbort with Tom Willander, Kirill Kudryavtsev with Pierre-Olivier Joseph, and Sonar Minio with Jimmy Schultz. And is that right? Did I get the right guy? Yeah, it is. Jimmy Schultz. Huh. I'm kind of proud of myself for being able to get that off the top of my head. Demko, Tolopilo, and Medvedev are your three goaltenders. So, like with the forwards, these D pairings are kind of scattered around, although I do think there's a little bit more cohesion here. Pettersson and Myers, yeah, that's probably going to be a pairing this upcoming year. Forbort, Willander also might have some potential of playing together. Going to be interesting to see what Sonar Minio and Kudryavtsev are going to be able to bring to the table. And then in net, Tolopilo and Medvedev also showing off very well in training camp. Let's go over onto Group B. Here are the forward lines for this group over here. You've got Evander, Kane, Filipino, and Jonathan Lekkerimäki. Okay, that is super, super interesting. I think a lot of folks were penciling in Connor Garland to be on that line for Vancouver by the time the season began, so it's super interesting to see Lekkerimäki be given that opportunity instead. Second line, you've got Nils Höglander, Teddy Blueger, and Connor Garland. Okay, so they're kind of swapping things around. Most Canucks fans thought that Garland would be on the second line, Höglander on the third line, and Blueger on the fourth. So this is kind of a mishmash of guys all over the place here in Höglander, Blueger, and Garland. You've got O'Connor, Sasson, and Danila Klimovich as your third line for Group B, and Labate, Oman, and Stillman on your fourth line. So, say what you want about Nils Oman, I actually thought he played pretty well in the NHL the most previous campaign. Kind of wild to see him as the Group B fourth line center with Stillman and Labate, but still, as we've been seeing, these forward lines are kind of all over the place, so that, of course, is going to be something to watch. Then on D, you've got Hughes Hronek, Elias Pettersson, and Parker Alkos. Then you also got Niazov and Mancini, followed up by Arsent and Lee. I honestly do think Mancini has a better chance of making the team than this lineup would imply, but I guess we'll wait and see, right? Elias Pettersson with Parker Alkos is a really interesting pairing. I want to pay attention to that. And then, of course, Hughes Hronek is the best pairing on the team. In net, you've got Lankinen, Young, and Patera, so Jiri Patera, folks, yeah, he's still in the organization. Pay attention to him as the Canucks try to sort out their goaltending situation. So obviously lots of interesting line combos and names to pay attention to in and out of the Canucks lineup. You had folks on the Canucks subreddit trying to sort out what the regular lines look like based off of these combos. You've got DeBrusk, Petey, Boeser, Kane, Chytil, and Lekkerimaki, Höglander, Blueger, Garland, and then whomever else. Probably Kiefer, Sherwood with O'Connor and Aatu or Sasson. There are a number of ways you can mix and match the line combinations. I don't think a lot of folks were expecting Lekkerimaki to get a primetime spot, but hey, he's on there with Kane and Chytil. And then we also had ourselves an even bigger conversation as to some observations exhibited by Thomas Drance from Canucks camp so far. Number one, it's been a teachy day one. Systems are focused, if not a full install. Number two, Adam Foote wants the Canucks to amp up their D-zone pressure, wingers tight to the blue line, outnumbering down low. Looks like a swarm defensive zone start to me. Drance also says that the Canucks have emphasis on the fourth man's ice plus the defenseman joining the rush. Now what exactly does this all mean? Well, Past Zebra 1155 went out there and posted this on the Canucks subreddit saying this is by far the most interesting news of the day. It lines up with Foote talking about attacking with numbers all over the ice yesterday, and Drance's earlier reporting of this staff having a more aggressive, neutral zone and defensive zone philosophy. Tocchet wanted to dial up the rush offense in last year's training camp, but shut that plan down when the Canucks started getting burned early in the season, so it's impossible to say with certainty they'll be sticking with that structure. But it's the direction that this user on Reddit wanted to see their systems go, especially after watching the playoffs this year. Virtually every game they had watched Edmonton play, and he watched their entire run. At some point, I thought to myself, man, I wish the Canucks played more like this. Aggressive all over the ice, forcing turnovers, and killing teams with quick strike transitions. It's very live by the sword, die by the sword, and punishes individual mental errors, which is why likely Tocchet stuck to a more passive box +1. He didn't trust his players not to get burned, and he didn't have the defensive personnel at the beginning of the year. But it is a very entertaining brand of hockey, and the Canucks have the decor to capitalize on it now. I think the big question of whether it sticks beyond fatigue and IQ is going to be the speed of their forward group. This is an early dub for the people who hated watching Tocchet hockey, though I think Toc would have wanted to go in this direction too. See the late season adjustment to a more positionless, Vegas-style offense with D-men frequently rotating low. At the end of the day, this changes the way the Vancouver Canucks play quite a bit from last season, and it's sure to provide a lot more entertainment than just the regular old dump and chase. Passive Rick Tocchet hockey where the team was not willing to take any risks due to either directions from the coach directly or because of a lack of talent. The Vancouver Canucks have some pretty speedy players in O'Connor and Chytil. Connor Garland's a pest, so is Kiefer, Sherwood. Höglander can be a buzzsaw too. So they definitely have the pace, I would say, to be able to play a high-flying style, unlike what we had seen last year. But now it seems like the Canucks are actually going down the path of putting that in, and swarming around puck carriers in the D-zone, forcing things up, and allowing a little bit more flexibility up the lanes. It's a risky style, but it's a lot more entertaining to watch, and if the Vancouver Canucks can take advantage of the direction this NHL is going, we are starting to see players take over games with their speed, teams take over games with their speed. If you have a swarmed Carolina team or a Vegas team that's just buzzing around and being difficult to play against, obviously that's a lot more entertaining and yields better results than the passive Rick Tocchet hockey we saw this most recent campaign. So ultimately, I think there's a lot to be excited for here with the Vancouver Canucks, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section as well. How do you feel about these new forward lines, and how do you feel about these new systems put in place? Any likes or comments really help out this YouTube channel in this dire time of YouTube algorithm death, so I would appreciate any form of conversation we can get in the comments section below. So let me know in the comments, how do you feel about these changes to the Vancouver Canucks plus the new forward lines. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.